Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 6th Platform and Treasury Council recurring meeting. Today is January 23rd, 2025. It's 3 p.m. Central Time. I have an agenda here that I need to post. I'll post that in the in the channel here. But I just want to remind everybody why these recurring meetings are here. They provide transparency. They create structure for the forum and discussion for our proposals. They enable our proposers to present ideas to the council. They allow the community to hear and see and discuss, to debate and refine these proposals that keep our platform moving. It provides a medium for regular platform updates. It ensures consistent communication between all council members and allows direct community engagement through questions and answer time at the end. I also want to reiterate that the Platform and Treasury Council is our global governance layer, right? The local governance layer being the TELEX and TAN councils. But together, the global councils oversee platform-wide systems, association social policies, and manage the TEL treasury. So, the primary duties for the governance system is self-organized and determined by the four minor groups and their elected councils are to provision, such as planning and financing, platform infrastructure, construction and maintenance, and provide information and other collective goods to reach those needs, and to allocate TEL, which is our regulated TEL allowance, and maintain sustainability within the platform for the four minor groups to harvest based on their production and according to the rules set out by the governance and outlined in our documentation at telcoin.org. As council members, I want to remind ourselves that our key responsibilities are reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, to attend council meetings, provide the community with regular updates, to monitor the platform systems, and to enforce operational rules. So, as a quick recap from last meeting, we discussed Telcoin network development progress and the need to open source. I'm proud and excited to share that TIP was approved, ratified, and implemented since our last meeting. We also discussed in the last meeting the TAO and Telcoin Association Services Agreement. We've had some back and forth on the forum, which is great. That is exactly what it's there for. We had some exciting progress on exchange listings and identified a need for NDAs, which has also since moved forward with a proposal on TIP for NDAs and council members. We also addressed some concern over council members' lack of participation. So as a reminder, I'd like to address that more specifically. As a reminder, Telcoin Platform's governance framework requires all council members to, first and foremost, attend reoccurring meetings. And number two, if as a council member you're unable to attend, at least provide the community with an explanation and summary of your opinions regarding the specific proposals that were brought up in the agenda. Right? The proposals for global platform and treasury councils are TIPs and TELIPs. And proposals for the local TAN and TELEX councils are TAN IPs and TELEX IPs. So, council members represent their constituents. Okay? As it's very important to have transparent and to be effective and allowing your constituents to communicate with their elected representatives. Right? And it's critical that we maintain those open lines of communication so council members can accurately represent the community's interests. It's understandable, conflicts come up, occasionally arise, but consistent communication is essential to maintain that trust that the community is placing in us as council members. So, in the interest of transparency, I just want to remind you that the Compliance Council does have the authority to direct the TAO to revoke governance NFTs for members that consistently miss meetings and fail to participate as council members. And that's not a punishment, okay? It's a rule to ensure that the governance system remains robust and it's responsive to the community's needs. So, moving forward, please ensure that you mark your calendars for all scheduled council meetings, that you communicate any conflicts with these meetings well in advance. If you cannot attend the meetings, you should at least provide your input on the agenda items that you missed that were addressed in those meetings. With the community expects transparency, the councils expect transparency, and it's important to have some way to communicate your position on these proposals as they are coming out. It's also critical that you stay engaged with these ongoing proposals and that you participate in the community discussion. There's a lot of different places that this is happening. Now, as on X, formerly known as Twitter, there's the official forum that is a great place to post opinions, comments, concerns, questions, and just general support if that's all that you have. And the Discord is also a great place to ask questions and to, if nothing else, share that you are aware of what's happening, that you as a council member are making your presence heard and seen and felt. So if you are a council member and you're experiencing challenges and make it difficult to meet those requirements, please reach out. Okay, you can reach out to support@telcoin.org. There is compliance at telcoin.org. There's TAO at telcoin.org. You can reach out to me directly, Parker, Leo. There's a lot of Marcus, Steve, anybody on any other council member. Just we're here to support each other. All right, and we can work together to find solutions that ensure effective governance while accommodating legitimate constraints. But the complete lack of any sort of communication is just unacceptable. So council members that fail to communicate or participate and are skipping meetings, they were likely to be referred to the Compliance Council for review. And that process could be to have a NFT revoked and a new election take place to fill that seat. So I really appreciate all the council members that have been attending and participating. We have a lot of outstanding effort going on, and I would encourage any other council members that may be newer to the process to please step up and participate. Help us shape the future. So great. Enough said. With that, I'd like to move forward with a Telcoin network update from our very own protocol engineer, Steve. Steve, are you here? Let's see.
Yep,
Hey,
I'm here.
There you are. Awesome. All right.
So the big one, Grant already touched on, is we've released open source. So in addition to all the usual benefits, that will hopefully let people have better visibility into what's going on, if there's delays, why they're there, what we're working on. You shouldn't have to be a developer to follow that. We're using GitHub issues and project management in an attempt to, just keep things, not just the code, but also what and why we're doing stuff visible. So I guess let us know if you're trying to use that and find issues. There may be growing pains as we transition into that, but we're attempting to, we're only working on issues and tying PRs to issues and all that sort of thing. Development wise, that took some time getting that across the finish line, but Grant's going to be finishing up the live P2P soon. He's been progressing on that. He's got to rewrite a whole lot of tests and everything, so it's kind of a heavy lift. I'm working on some synchronization stuff, which right now is mostly a robustness thing. If somebody in the committee drops for a while and comes back, it'll help them essentially sync and get back online. But this is also going to be critical for epochs and a lot of other functionality. That should be coming online soon as well. When both of those things, hopefully not before then, but there'll be a testnet restart coming up that'll incorporate all of the new networking, new syncing. It'll give us a lot more tools to keep testnet up and stable. Maybe one more reset before mainnet. Right now, since we don't have a mainnet, you should probably think of testnet kind of as devnet, but once mainnet goes live, that of course will change. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of where we're at. If anyone has any questions.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the update, Steve. Totally agree. And big shout out to you and Marcus for working as hard as you did to really get the repos in a position that we felt confident open sourcing on time and meeting that milestone. That was a really exciting step forward. So great job, Bill. All right. Next on the agenda here, we're moving forward with another TIP update, successful update. Email addresses have been created for council members. So every council member now has an official email address for telcoin.org domain. If you're a council member and you have any questions or you need help with your email, please contact support@telcoin.org, and we'll get that squared away. All right. Moving right along here, Adam, Squirtel, the one and only, and Troops, we'd like to discuss on the exchange listings. If you would provide an update, and yeah, I yield to you. And Adam, if you are talking, I cannot hear you. I see you're unmuted, but no indication of audio.
Try checking the input device. Sometimes it switches when, on me anyway, I have an audio interface.
I've also had that problem. Just well, how about this, Adam? While you're squaring that away, we do have an exciting guest, Bilal. He is potentially our newest application developer. He's with the team that's interested in becoming the newest application developer on the platform. I would love to introduce Bilal. If now's a good time for you, you could raise your hand. Yes, here you are. I, let's get you up on stage and introduce yourself. Hello.
Hey, Bilal.
Hello, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
We can. Thanks for joining.
Oh, brilliant. Perfect. All right. So this is my first time being part of this community. Super excited and thrilled. It's close to 2 a.m. in the morning, so you can understand my passion and excitement that I'm still awake. All right. Okay. So a quick introduction. I'm representing the game company here, and we have been in talks with Telcoin in general regarding one of the platform that we're building around the gaming ecosystem. And we have been able to discuss and figure out quite a lot of interesting synergies going forward. And just to give you guys a quick introduction about the game company. So we are basically an AI-driven blockchain-based cloud gaming platform, a completely SaaS-based solution. And we primarily enable gamers to play any AAA game using any device in their home, be it a 5 6 year old PC or a mobile phone, a MacBook Air, or for that matter, a television in their home living room, without the need of any expensive gaming hardware as such. So think of us more like the Netflix of the gaming world. We also offer extremely low latency with almost zero lag, and in most cases 6 to 7 times less latency in comparison to any other platform. The entire technology is backed by our proprietary innovation protected by patents within blockchain, AI, video compression, and infrastructure areas and domains. Apart from regular games, we offer customized esport tournaments for gamers globally. And we also have around 1,300 AAA gaming titles already on our platform. So, what we have based on blockchain is a GMRT token that we have built primarily on Base and Ethereum compatibility. But going forward, we are going to go multi chain, which means that we're going to be available also on Solana and Polygon. So, in terms of timelines, we are launching our token pretty soon. So, in the next 10 to 15 days, you might hear a lot of marketing activity happening around that. And soon after the token launch, we're going to launch our platform. So, what we are expecting is quite a few million users in next 6 months to a year's time who will be actively using the token on the platform for all of their economic activities, be it gameplay, participation in tournaments, rewards, staking, so on and so forth. We see a lot of synergy working with Telcoin in general because one of our key markets is, you know, um, getting partnerships with the large mobile network operators. And again, considering that Telcoin is already, very actively engaged with most of them, we see that the overall use case that we bring along with the capability of using Telcoin for payments and remittances and transferring the rewards might be an extremely interesting area, and we see a lot of synergy coming from that part of the world as well. Again, my apologies, I'm not really very well versed with the with the modalities of this forum. So, um, any questions that you may have, I'm happy to take that. Yeah.
Yeah, Bilal, well, first and foremost, thanks for joining, and it's really exciting to have you on. Would love to just kind of hear a little bit more about how you see the synergies with Telcoin Network and its vision for distributing blockchain services through mobile operators. As in, why would that be advantageous to your business? And then also just from the perspective of your experience with mobile operators historically, in light of that, I suppose. So it's one question bundled up into two. So in light of your experience, multiple decades in the telecom industry and what we've built here, how does that work in terms of getting to market to your customers?
Yeah. Interesting question. Okay, so there are multiple ways for us to bring the users or the gamers onto our platform, and the most obvious one is B2C, because we are trying to build a brand here, touching nearly all areas within the gaming ecosystem. Maybe in a separate discussion, we can talk more about the capabilities of the platform. But currently, just to answer your question, we think the mobile network operators are one of our key contributing partners when it comes to offering gaming as a service. So if you see historically, most of these mobile operators, they have been not very successful in building their own digital applications, uh, let alone in Web3 space, not even in the Web2 space. They are the ones making most of the investments when it comes to spectrum, when it comes to building these great infrastructures, 4Gs and 5G networks, so on and so forth. But most of the revenue share is generally taken by the OTT players, be it TikTok, Meta, Instagram, so on and so forth. So they have pretty much become the data service providers as such, and they have been taking a lot of hit on their revenues because they haven't really been in control of launching any digital services that they are kind of in control of. So our biggest proposition towards these mobile network operators going forward is to help them launch gaming as a service, where they can have two benefits straight away. First of all, they can increase their existing ARPUs by offering new data bundles only for gaming, specific to a particular application. So that directly contributes to their top line and increasing their ARPUs. And secondly, there is a huge market out there for esports, and currently, this market is very, very fragmented and generally based on physical tournaments. The online presence is really poor. But with a platform like ourselves, we can enable these mobile operators to launch esports in their individual markets where they can hold hundreds and thousands of tournaments for different game titles in different parts of the world for different segments of the gamer.
Well said, and I definitely recognize a lot of synergy between the two projects as well. I think, yeah. Um, Curious, are there any other questions from the council members at this time?
Well, so overall, I mean, basically enabling Android style users with less hardware to be able to connect with high performance um, through their existing Android phones to all these major games that usually require a ton of hardware. That's the highest level problem, and then going through mobile networks to reach those users via this shared Telcoin network infrastructure. To me, it seems just like a match
Correct.
made in heaven, and another example of a real world use case that has a ton of synergies with us that both should enable you all to go to market effectively, and also enable us as an association to showcase the
Hmm.
utility of these services. And so yeah, I really appreciate you joining the law. It's exciting to get the Telcoin application network built out, and we'll be working closely with you all to make sure that we get everything live with Telcoin Network for you to launch there, and also do some partnership work in the meantime to you know
Hmm.
co-market the relationship, and help with the TG event. And so yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of councils, including the TAN Council, who oversees the Telcoin application network, that would also love to meet you. And we're really thrilled to begin this shared journey together. So yeah, we really appreciate you joining. And yeah, it looks like we might have a question here from uh, Thinking Beer.
Thank you, Parker.
Yep,
Really
yeah,
appreciate that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thinking Beer, did you have a question for Bilal? Okay. Well, let us know if you change your mind. Does anyone else in the community have a question for Bilal about TGC and um, everything they're building there? And so, yeah, Bilal, could you share the socials for? Oh, Thinking Beer, you've joined. Welcome.
Yes, sorry, I pushed the wrong button. Yeah, just a quick question there, Ballard. Thank you for your time.
Sure.
Where do you see the value within these games being held? Is it going to be held within your platform or within a Telcoin wallet of some sort? Or, and excuse my simplicity there, I'm not a big gamer at all, but just to know.
Right. So basically, the model that we have is more like bring your own game. So anybody who has existingly purchased a game on, let's say, Steam or Epic Store, they can use their existing credentials to play game on our platform as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm not really sure, but maybe some of you might be interested to see more of the areas where we have synergy with, let's say, Telcoin, right? So we have done a lot of brainstorming in the last several weeks, and some of the highlights, without going into details, is that I can share with you is cross-platform incentives for users. For example, there is a particular user on Telcoin app. They can have access to certain credits when they come and use TTC platform. We can also integrate payments or gaming hours that they play using both the tokens. It can be either TEL or GMRT that can be used on the platform. So we can kind of create pairs and do the bridging between the two. We can also leverage a lot on the joint business development, because at the end of the day, the end customer is kind of common to both of us, and I'm talking about the mobile network operators. So we can kind of go to them with a very strong use case that can help them increase their revenues, and also offer their end customers multiple ways and multiple currencies to be part of both systems, right? Um, these are some of the things that we have in mind to begin with, and obviously we can build a lot on top of that going forward.
Great question. Thinking beer. Does anyone else have anything for Bilal? Well, I think we probably passed that 15. I think after, was this our 6th or 7th meeting? I think it's like 20 seconds or 30 seconds
Yeah.
that we give folks to raise their hand. Maybe that's a little
Yeah.
short change, but the show
Bilal, I
must
know you
go
have a.
on, as they say.
That's right. The show must go on. And on a final positive closing note, Bilal, would you be able to just? I know you have a lot of exciting news coming out and everything. Do you want to anything you want to plug, like just how we can follow the project and track these exciting updates that are coming out in the short term?
Absolutely. So what I can do is probably I can share with Parker yourself, if you allow me to, and I can share the social handles that we have. Feel free to follow. And there's a lot of updates coming on a daily basis. We have a Telegram channel, we have our Discord channel, we have close to 120K community on our Twitter, so on and so forth. So you can pretty much see all the updates coming in there, and also on our LinkedIn. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's great.
And thank you for your time and exciting stuff. And we look forward to staying in touch and watching the success unfold. Thanks, Bilal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Player.
Well,
Thank
if
you.
you could shoot me that the info real quick, I'll throw it into this chat and share it with everybody.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining. We're really excited.
All right. Now I think on the next on the agenda, Adam, have you know that you'll be yeah. Are you available?
You can hear
Hey,
me.
excellent. Hello.
He's
Okay,
back.
perfect. Yeah, sorry about that. I have no idea what was wrong with my headset, so I've gone straight to my phone. So I know everyone's keen on updates from the community side, and we've got a lot to dive into. So first off, there's been a vocal minority raising concerns about pace and progress of talks with whether it's exchanges, consultancies, or other potential partnership negotiations. First off, I completely understand the frustration. The best way of probably describing it is you are seeing things from outside. If you're looking through a window of a house, you're only seeing this one room, so you've got limited visibility. So you don't actually see what's going on behind the scenes. So I completely do understand the frustration on this, and I want to provide some clarity. So right now, as Grant mentioned earlier, we're in a key phase. So we're waiting for the completion of the council member NDA, which then will allow us to share any necessary details with the association council members. So once that's in place, with the forum proposal already out there, we'll be in a much stronger position to further continue discussions and potentially move forward with any talks, negotiations, or partnerships. Naturally, everything is down to vote, and I'm not in a position to disclose any specifics to the community, and because that would essentially breach NDA and jeopardize the entire process. Rest assured, we will know talks. Well, talks have been ongoing. Some new, others revisited from the previous years of the Telcoin applications. So, going on to the NDA proposal for the council discussions. As you're aware, the NDA proposal is currently circulating with the Telcoin Association Forum, specifically for those council members. This is essential as it allows us to share the sensitive information and have open, transparent discussions regarding exchanges, agencies, consultancy firms, or any talks that could be happening with the Telcoin Association Council. So this is strictly from a council member perspective, and it provides the necessary insight to ensure that council members are equipped with details that they need to make accurate and informed decisions to then vote when it comes to the snapshot. So once this NDA is passed, and all signed off by the council members, we'll then be able to freely discuss the relevant details about whether it's exchange, negotiations, consultancy, engagements, agencies, or potential partnerships. So this will be fully protected under Telcoin Association NDA. So this is a crucial step in essentially progressing it efficiently. Ensures that we can proceed with negotiation. It aligns overall with the Telcoin vision and the long-term goals while maintaining full confidentiality. So so after basically to give you the steps through, once it's signed, the council members were able to talk about it. After that, we'll bring a highly redacted proposal to the forum for transparency, and then followed by a snapshot vote to ensure everyone's aligned before, if it's passed, we move forward. This process is designed to keep everything on track and it's confidential while making sure everyone's well informed within the council at each stage. So any negotiation in business, it's important to understand reach an agreement, it can take time. There is often a back and forth as parties work to find a common ground. This is normal and expected. It's any part of the business process of negotiations. So it's actually a positive. So it shows that anyone you are talking to, both sides are willing to or wanting to find a way to make it work for everyone involved. Sometimes things are able to get worked out, other times it may not. It may depend. It all depends on how things are aligned with the parties. So I do encourage everyone just stay patient a little bit more. We are working. Every member of the council is working extremely hard, and everyone is working together on this. So we are all aligned. We want to keep everything flowing. It's all essential to build a stronger mutual and beneficial arrangement agreements with whatever entity we are speaking with. So to address the community concerns, so I understand there was frustration from a small part of the community regarding the pace of any negotiations and that side. So completely understandable, especially when we're seeing meme coins getting listed so quickly. I understand that frustration. So, however, it is important to remember that there's a significant difference between projects that are driven by hype and those like Telcoin that are building real-world sustainable use case products and services. So a meme coin may rise on a wave of excitement. Once that hype fades, their value often follows suit. Is similar. Best way to describe it is similar to those of TV shopping ads. They'll promise the best sponge in the world for $29.95, and then it arrives and you realise it's a simple sponge that's been massively overpriced. Telcoin, on the other hand, it's committed to building something with lasting value. It's not just riding the latest trend. So we're laying essentially solid foundations that's going to endure not only the crypto space but well beyond into real world use case. As Telcoin establishes real world use cases, particularly with the support of the GSMA telecommunications providers, the platform is going to potentially open up to a world in the ways many others can't match, which is massive. So what are the next steps? So step one, we're going to finalize and sign off the NDA once everything is approved. So once that's done, everyone can dive deeper into the discussions with the council members. So council members can then dive deeper into what has been going on and any talks that may be happening. After that, the relevant details have been shared. Everyone needs to make that informed decision, and that's where this point happens. We'll then present kind of a redacted proposal for transparency. So this will be followed by the snapshot votes where everyone, if it's in agreement, I can't get my words out. If everyone is in agreement and the vote passes, then we initiate any agreement with that entity. And then final agreement, step four will be final agreements and dates naturally set. Everything's still radio silence. And then naturally, any trade, there is a blackout, any trade blackout period there would have already been initiated, as that just comes with the nature of all of this. I know. Actually, I just want to take a moment as well to acknowledge the work of the council, all the council members. So everyone's put in each sector. Everyone has a vital role to play, as Grant said, and because of your expertise and commitment, we're able to move forward and shape the future of the platform and governance. So genuinely, thank you, because I've been working with quite a few of you, and I really do appreciate it. So to wrap up, essentially, discussed how the NDA will help us move forward with more transparency and speed. We've addressed community concerns about pace of listings and why, and then also why building something with a multifaceted real world use is going to, in my opinion, would come out on top. We've also discussed the next steps and the signings of NDA, followed by detailed discussion of with the council, redacted proposal, and then snapshot vote to move forward. So essentially, a lot has been waiting for the ability to speak with said council members. That's just in general. If I've been in talks with anyone, if there's been any aspects at all, or where we're at, just because this is a collaborative approach. The council are key, and and everyone has their vote and opinion to whether it does pass or not. But we are all aligned in the Telcoin vision, and any deal has to work for both sides. There's no point giving anyone the world if we're not going to get something back in return of the equivalent value. So we don't want a one-sided deal. We want to make sure it works for all parties. Because essentially the whole aspect is the ecosystem. So Telcoin and the ecosystem is essentially the heart of the platform. So that is always a key aspect, and we don't want to give too much away to too much away to the exchanges or any other entities, but we also want to make sure that we do build upon this platform, because it is two different audiences there. So yeah, essentially, I just want to say thank you to all the council members, as the time working with all you guys has been really appreciated. I appreciate all the support, and we're going to get to the point where Telcoin is leading in the decentralized financial space, I believe. So I'm excited for what's ahead. I'm looking forward to chatting with everyone on the next steps and where we're at, so we can shape the future of the platform properly.
Well said, Adam. I think it's all coming together. Council members, now we have a dedicated workspace through telcoin.org. We can securely organize, share these documents that are related to this process. And the NDA TIP is ready, and I think it's been discussed fairly well so far. There's no concerns, just support. So I think that I'd like to see us move forward with it potentially on Monday, January 27th. If that's all right with the council, I think we're good to go. Cool. All right. Well, we'll see that happening. I think we've had some proposals come out on Fridays and random days of the week, and I think it seems to be a little bit easier for everybody's schedule if we can kind of line it up at the start of a week. That way, everybody has time to we have time to coordinate and ask questions or whatever else seems to happen. But if there are any objections to that, I'd love to hear that. If a weekend is preferred, but
Yeah, personally, I think that if, as a norm, we don't have to institute any rules for this, but I think just as a norm, just so that we can ensure, because as everyone knows, the primary duties that are required by council members, which we have to enforce those, and they're critical to reducing the costs of making decisions collectively is that every council member has to vote on every proposal, full stop. And I think that by doing it on Monday, we have first a full work week to reach out to folks to make sure that they're apprised and they're not caught off on a weekend vacation and insert island somewhere. And so yeah, I think Mondays are good. And Amir, if you can confirm this, but I think there's also another solution there, which is just to have, like, if you were to say want to have a proposal on a Friday, that perhaps you increase the number of a number of days within the duration of the proposal, so that it ends on the following Friday, and we just sort of discount those weekend days as voting days, because I just think that most people are likely to vote more frequently and look at their emails to know they need to vote during the weekdays. So I don't know if that works a mirror and what just across the council, just as a standard practice.
I think it makes sense, and at least for this next proposal and foreseeable ones, we'll shoot for getting the NDA out on Monday to Snapshot. That's great.
Awesome.
Cool. So just to recap, we have had 2 unanimously approved proposals. The one for council emails that has been implemented, the one for open sourcing Telcoin network and Telcoin network contracts. Those have both been implemented and approved. So we do have to reach 100%. The TIPs need 100% quorum to pass. That means every council member has to vote. And so although we don't necessarily have people on stage, I do want to point out that Will and BMO are in attendance for this particular meeting. I don't see other council members that would be part of this stage, but that is something that I think we can address here at the end. But we have one other TELIP that's coming up. It's a big one, and I would love to pass the floor over to Parker now to discuss the TELIP he's been working on. Parker?
Hey everybody. So yeah, I finalized a forum draft proposal for the year 2 issuance for the association and throughout the platform. And yeah, really excited to present it here. So let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, so so we're gonna basically have, okay, so we can't hear you, Amir. No, but yeah, so basically year 1, we submitted, a proposal, the TGIP1 proposal which was unanimously approved by the all of the TEL token holders who participated in that vote, to basically institute a set of rules for the full governance system, ranging from the rules at the legal constitutional level that set the terms and conditions for governance, and then the rules for how people make decisions. So basically, the minor groups electing council members to minor councils to make decisions about certain areas, primarily which include planning and financing, Telcoin platform infrastructure development, providing other collective goods, for instance, data and analytics system that the Telex Council is working on right now, and things like Telcoin network and the like. And so we have two areas that are our primary duties: is provisioning or planning and financing this infrastructure, providing goods to the community, and then the second one is allocating TEL within the platform sustainably for the 4 different miners to harvest. And at the highest level, the Telcoin platform is this 3-layered system that, unlike the thousands of different protocols and applications with their own individual token built on top of them, that de facto already have these 3 layers. So this blockchain layer, this goods and services exchange layer, i.e. TELX, and this customer touchpoint application layer, like the Telcoin application network. These things all exist across existing networks. They just aren't really recognized in the full sort of value chain of for blockchain services, of users and producers of these systems until Telcoin have been fully removed from the ownership of the system. So if you build an application on Ethereum, you don't harvest the native ETH token based off of your application's production, despite paying, what can amount to be millions and billions of dollars in gas costs. And so the basic research question that the Telcoin platform technological system and the governance system are designed to do is to empower this full value chain for financial blockchain-based services with ownership. Because why use a system that you don't have ownership in when one exists when you do? And then this sort of model within this governance system as well of incorporating mobile operators, this completely distributed network of some of the largest firms in the world with all the users, network infrastructure, to make this type of system work. We have both the system that's scalable and, due to this ownership model, defensible. And so, as basically this proposal, in the first year, and overall, we started with a 10 billion TEL treasury, which is effectively the main primary source of TEL issuance throughout the platform, and 10% of that was allocated across the 3 layers for miners to harvest, and also allocated towards the development of this critical infrastructure Telcoin network, this underlying blockchain that is really key to the full vertical integration of the Telcoin platform. And so this proposal, in line with that, given there's 9 billion TEL left in the TEL treasury and 10% annually is distributed from the treasury throughout the platform, introduces basically allocations for each of the miners and council members, as well as for Telcoin network development by the TAO. So basically, the high level proposal allocates 900 million TEL, which is 10% of the treasury across 5 key areas. So TELX incentives in year 1 were at 200 million. Same with validator incentives; those stay the same at 200 million in this proposal. The TAN issuance, for anyone who has been following along, basically the application layer issuance was deferred while we were implementing and enabling the community to organize the association. It was deferred to the TAN Council for its approval, given that Telcoin Holdings was the only developer in year 1. And so now, through this phased approach, we are going to activate Telcoin application network layer incentives, but we also have a surplus from last year that wasn't used. So 105.6 million TEL will be allocated to the TAN Council safe, which would equate to about 300 million TEL total in that safe to be allocated towards stakers and developers in planning and financing infrastructure. This also includes 30 million TEL for council member issuance, which there's 33 different members across the councils and the TAO that each have an NFT that the community voted to transfer to them, so that they can make proposals, vote, and also, based off of their NFT ownership, earn a stream of TEL every second for the work that they do. Which, once again, that compensation it is significant, and the community is financing the council members to fulfill their duties, which includes coming to these meetings. And so I know that this is a bit of a non sequitur, but there has been tremendous outreach related to folks not showing up to the meetings. And so, the way to effectively do that in terms of enforcing those rules in a private way that is effective is to, I think, email compliance@telcoin.org and note the council member that hasn't shown up, or worse, hasn't voted. But at the highest level, we want to be able to because we're this global org, we also want to be able to, facilitate schedules and be lenient when folks can't make it because they live in a jurisdiction where it's just not a workable time. And so, I think it's the first thing we can kind of do in that area. Once again, long non sequitur here, but is to reach out to those people and just let them know, hey, look, these are your duties. This is what you need to do. And if you don't show up, we have to enforce them, these rules, because, first and foremost, it's a sort of shirking of duties, and it is sort of free riding on the efforts of others. Um, and also, but our rules and their enforcement is really their credibility and legitimacy. Um, and so enforcing them is critical to the institution that we've created together. So anyways, we have 200 million TEL going to validator incentives, 200 million TEL going to TELX liquidity mining, 105.6 million TEL going to Telcoin application network, 30 million TEL going to council members. And then we've allocated 364.4 million TEL for the development of Telcoin network. This development budget is broken down into this $2.28 million budget is broken down comprehensively within the proposal for everyone to review. It includes $1 million for engineering costs, which include protocol, smart contract development, security, DevOps. It includes that was $1 million for engineering, $500K for comprehensive security audits, which we've gone through here numerous times. These systems, they are technology for securing your ownership over your property and the internet without relying on third parties, and they operate based on code. And so humans build code, and humans are prone to error. And so the security of this network via audits that are comprehensive from top firms, and they are costly, is well worth the risk of some critical vulnerability compromising everyone in this discussion's entire ownership of their property. So these systems are mission critical, and we're trying to build banking, finance, payments for the world. And so to do that, it just has to be based on secure infrastructure. And then this also includes 250K for cloud infrastructure, cloud services related to operating different nodes and just what is needed for the network work. And then we've allocated 500K for bug bounty programs, and the usage of those funds is, we think based off of what we've seen in the marketplace, $2 million is a high level norm for a bug bounty program. However, the need to, let's say, put aside $2 million worth of TEL for a bug bounty program versus 25% of that doesn't make as much sense, because we need to basically figure out exactly how we're going to structure the bug bounty program, and then ideally this is covered by either an insurance provider on chain, that you pay a premium for them to ultimately, if there is a bug bounty, to pay out on, versus having $2 million up front. It just doesn't seem to make sense, but at least that 25% makes a lot of sense. So that's how the budget breaks down for the development of Telcoin network. And just some key points to highlight is that we're maintaining the same miner reward rates as last year, while also funding critical infrastructure. So the TELX miners earned the same last year as they will this year. The TAN allocational balance rewards between developers and stakers once activated, and also enable for grants to, for instance, Bilal, the game company's firm, to become GSMA members, and that's of course under the domain of the TAN Council, and is something that we discussed last meeting, but is under further consideration. But having that access to drive the development of the network and then maintain the same issuance levels for stakers is how we've set it up. And so basically, yeah, Telex maintains its current emission schedule, and then the development focus here is on launching a secure, robust Telcoin network, mainnet. And so the TAO will provide quarterly reports on expenditures and progress moving forward, and any budget adjustments to this, and future financing. Ideally, we get through this year, we have a fully operational mainnet that's live and delivered with 10 mobile network operators producing blocks. And then at that point, the full issuance effectively minus what the community, at least most of the issuance as is intended to be, will be harvested by miners. Whereas this year, we still need to get this network live so that we can take this thing to a full vertical network with global mobile operators in every country securing it and then offering those services by establishing this infrastructure as their technology for finance directly to every mobile user in the world. So I'm happy to take questions about specific allocations or implementation details. To see that the proposal has been shared in the chat here, and so feel free to review that and provide your comments. We will, before going and submitting this proposal for approval, we will wait through next week, field questions related to the proposal, see if there's anything that needs to be changed or improved, and really get consensus across everyone before we submit the proposal, which is key because we, in order to approve this, have two separate different groups that need to approve it. So first, the Platform Council will submit the TELIP for voting to snapshot, and that requires all 8 members to vote. Approval rate. Platform Council will post, if and once it's approved, will propose this to the Treasury Council so that they can vote, which requires unanimous consent from the 4 members there. And so that's why it's key during these times for us to achieve consensus to refine these proposals so that we do get that full consensus unanimously. Because and the reason for why do you have a unanimous approval? I mean, that's a lot, right? Well, when you're the first thing that we wanted to do was reduce the decision-making costs significantly of governance, and so that includes basically having a representative model with these modular units or polycentric, this polycentric structure, multiple different governance units that oversee different domains, and so basically so you have these 4 minor groups that elect all of the council members, and the issue becomes if when you have these major critical global components like Telcoin network when it's fully live, the Treasury, which is the entire stock or source of issuance for the miners to plan and finance infrastructure and to harvest. When you have such critical infrastructure, it's very important that you reduce the decision-making costs down to ensure that you can actually make the decision instead of having everyone in the world vote on everything. But then also you ensure that all 4 of the minor groups have to approve of this type of proposal with this infrastructure, because otherwise they could be effectively voted off the island. And so you have one on the Treasury Council, which votes after the Platform Council. They need a unanimous consent from all of them in order for it to be approved. And of course, the Compliance Council at any time throughout the proposal process can submit a CCIP proposal to veto the existing proposal, and with two out of four, with at least three voters from the Compliance Council, veto any proposals that are made. So yeah, once again, thank you everyone for letting me propose this. I'm really excited to get this network live, and to unlock application layer issuance through the TAN Council. And it's really great to see how the Telex Council has come up with some great proposals too. And I look forward to any questions, comments, or concerns about specific allocations or implementation details. And while we were on the call, Trump did another thing to promote our industry. Thanks to Bilal. It's been a pretty crazy year here. I still don't know how to react to the whole Trump coin thing, but that's definitely a different discussion. Anyway, so does anyone have any questions? And if you don't right now, no worries. Feel free to throw those on the forum. I realized that, I kind of proposed it on the forum at about the same time as I presented here. So apologize for the lateness. Just wanted to get everything right.
Can you hear me
That's
now?
okay.
We can hear
Yeah.
you now.
Okay, awesome. Sorry. Yeah, Parker. It's super easy to switch the time frames and stuff like that. At some point, if we start hooking things on to Gnosis Safe or Safe Wallet, they have little plugins that attach to the Treasury Council, the actual safes that control these NFTs and stuff. And as we automate it, those become a little bit more, I don't want to say difficult, but time consuming to change. And it's not as easy, but that's really only for on-chain execution. For simple votes where we're just trying to hey, what is the council member's decision on this? We don't need on-chain execution, or we don't need automated on-chain execution. Stuff like that is pretty straightforward and easy to adjust the time frames.
Sounds good. So I just think, because it just, if we want to get a proposal out, we're just going to increase the days so that it ends on a Friday or 7 days later or what have you. So I appreciate you chiming in there, Amir.
Sure, no problem.
All right. Well, I think we will yield to some. The community can just review that TELIP proposal. Thanks for your hard work on that, Parker. I know that's that's a heavy lift, and it's very important for the continued success of the platform. So I appreciate your time and effort you put into that, and I look forward to the community's discourse and for the councils to align on reaching a decision that we can all agree on. So excellent.
Thanks, Grant.
I think that is it for the agenda that I have so far, and I'd like to invite anybody in the community and audience or council members, of course. If you have any questions at this time, I would like to provide some time to answer any questions you guys have, or any additional topics to discuss. Well, I I guess I will start then. I have one question I would like to propose to the council in general, and that is the best way to handle the particular attendance issue that's been brought up in the past couple weeks. So we have clear guidelines, but we're also a new organization, and so there's some leeway that I think is due just to help educate and encourage council members that may not fully understand their responsibilities. I think that I would like to point out this is the second meeting now in a row, global meeting that we've had where we addressed this concern. So I think moving forward, uh, I'm open to any sort of feedback, but I will volunteer to reach out to the members who have not, whose attendance we've noticed as kind of lacking, and just see. I think that it's fair to ask for, first of all, like if how things are going, what their assessment is. Like, I guess I don't want to demand an explanation, but I would like to know where they're coming from and check in. And then I think too, it's fair to let them know that their attendance and their participation is sorely missed, and that that they kind of that we expect more from them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, we're really starting to organize this thing. We're catching our momentum, and I was just delighted to see that the folks wanted to ensure that we enforce our rules. And then on the same note, just to reiterate, there's this value that I ascribed into the Telcoin Association Constitution, which talks about sort of graduated sanctions based off the severity of the offense. And we have that with the 3 meeting rule. If you miss 3 meetings in a row, you are effectively eligible to have your NFT revoked. I also think, given that this is a new thing, um, you know, I mean, we're really at the beginning of this entire industry, and compliant communal organizations for governing them, and we want to, I think we want to maybe, depending on the intensity of the council's preference towards going ahead um, and actually, enforcing the rules for the lack of attendance. If there are people that do feel strongly that we need to do that now, then I wouldn't stand in the way of that or at all. I mean, it's not even my jurisdiction, but I would just say I think maybe we should send emails to everyone that has missed that amount of meetings and just say, look, you've missed these meetings. How's it going? Just to reiterate, the rules are that you need to vote on anything in your jurisdiction, um, and you need to show up to these council meetings, or you have to revoke your NFT. The TAO has to vote on your behalf while we do a 30-day process for replacing the council member with the minor group via liquid delegation ceremony. And so I think basically it's like we should reach out to, and say, instead of just saying you're out, I think maybe we give one last go to the folks who haven't been showing up and say, where you been? And then if they don't come out to the next one, then we effectively just we should move forward and present the case for why those folks shouldn't still hold their positions and should be replaced with someone who is more likely to show up and gets elected by their group. So I know that was a long-winded sort of input, but I just um, I think that we can, that my preference, which is, I don't have a huge intensity of preference here because I do not really appreciate the fact that there are some folks who haven't showed up to really any meetings in some cases, is that we send a final email to everyone that has missed at least 3 meetings and say, if you don't come to the next one, we will be forced to do that. So what are your thoughts on my ideas for enforcement there and trying to balance,
Quick quick interjection. I see Coops and Adam at their mics ready to speak, and Ty's requested to speak too. So I'm going to invite him to the stage, but I think, in the order, I'd like to hear from Cooper and Adam first, but I'm going to invite Ty now as the third speaker.
Parker's taken the words, exact words right out of my mouth. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's pretty tough to ignore. I get 7 MIF meetings now in a row. I'm talking in particular the council member in Platform Treasury. But yeah, exactly as you said, Parker. I think it should be an email from the compliance email stating that there's a deadline of, if you don't show up for the next meeting in 2 weeks, then the process will start.
Just to add to that as well, I think we should better understand what they can actually bring to the council, because it's all well and good that they haven't been here for well over a quarter of the year, but how are they actively going to participate if they choose to? Because that we need to understand, because if essentially they're not going to bring value, then it may be better off bringing someone who can. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that of course is the will of the minor group that elects them, and for them to constantly sort of say, is this person working, and then to propose to do a liquid delegation proposal and everything, but yeah, I mean, I see it from all angles, and I agree with you totally. I think it sounds like Ty's got some thoughts. Ty, hit us with it.
Morning, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Very well, thanks. Yeah, I think I appreciate everybody's point of view here. I think I tend to agree with Squirtle more than anybody else in terms of it gives us a chance to evaluate what value they bring to the meeting. The bottom line is, I think everybody knew the rules getting into it. It was very clear that attending meetings was compulsory. We've had 6 or 7. The deadline was 3. Been a bit hard-nosed. They've earned $250,000 TEL so far in their quote remunerations. Most of the activity I've been privy to across all the councils, everybody's really working really hard and earning their crust. I think it's very unfair to the other council members to have somebody almost freeloading. Now, there may be valid reasons, but the hard facts are almost half a year's passed where, 6 or 7 meetings in, $250,000 TEL earned. I think we can keep on giving them chances, trying to softly. I'm of the old school, probably the hard approach. The rules were there, you knew what you were getting into. Bang. That would be my feeling. And it may be controversial, it may be a bit hard-nosed, but I just don't think it's fair to the other members. That's it. Thank you for the voice.
Thank you, Ty. Yeah, I mean, based on what I'm seeing in the chat and conversations I've had, I think, folks think that the 3-strike rule is pretty fair. In creating it, I thought in, trying to write the rules in line with that value of graduated sanctions over time versus, like, oh, you messed up, see you later, bye Parker, you missed the meeting, whatever. 3 is kind of graduated sanctions. And so what I would say is, maybe I don't know. The reason that I say we should wait, at least for the platform council members who haven't showed, is if they both voted in the last proposal, and that's critical, is to have, because we can't pass anything. There's no proposal within the council's governance besides the compliance council, where every single council member doesn't have to vote for it to be approved. In other words, all of the IPs besides the CCIP require 100% quorum rate. And so we achieved that recently, which makes me sort of like, oh man, well, they did show up to vote. However, once again, it's 7 meetings. It's already 2 times that. And so basically what I would recommend is individuals should reach out to the compliance@telcoin.org email with their requests for, basically to enforce the rules where they deem fit. And that's within everyone's rights within the association to do that. And it's then the duty of the compliance council to take care of that and then enforce those rules, which I'm sure that it would be likely to do. And yeah, so I mean, just seeing the chat, I mean, I see a bunch of folks that just don't feel like it's right to not enforce that rule, and it's there for a reason. So, anyways, yeah, feel free to email the compliance council to have them do a CCIP so that you can maintain privacy. We don't. There's no like something personal here, right? It's just here's the rules. We have as Nick is in the chat says, business is business, and um, so for me personally, I'm not going to write that email because I don't, being this sort of, founding proposal author and everything, I would prefer not to do that. But, if you have an intensity of preference towards that and they are violating the rules, then please do email compliance@telcoin.org because they want to do their jobs too. And they need input from the community to make things like this happen.
Maybe there's a middle ground where you could suspend allocation rather than withdraw an NFT, suspend allocation. So hit them with a little slap on the wrist saying you've breached the three meeting rule or whatever it is. Payments
I don't
will
think
have
that's
stopped.
technically feasible, actually, because the NFT contracts are, in a way, they're designed to have one of the NFTs not earn TEL issuance. Amir?
Correct, Parker. We can't do it on a specific individual basis.
So I'd like to propose then after hearing some deliberation, I I can confirm that everybody has received and reached out and followed up over the weekend to receive their council email. And so I would be happy and I volunteer to write an email that just asks essentially for an explanation. I agree. First of all, I want to acknowledge Parker. Like your position is, kind of tough. You were so instrumental in founding this governance structure that it's really hard for you to, I think you could have probably felt that all of us, you've had to educate all of us, and you've had to be patient and coach all of us throughout this process in a lot of ways, and so. I understand that it's probably really hard for you to you know well it's just hard to see. You've been patient with all of us, I should say, and so with that being said, I think with the council members and moving forward with CIP, I think it's within everyone's rights. Three strikes, it is out, and that's happened already, but. I would like to reach out to these council members through our official uh, email chains. I'll put all the council members on there, and I think that it's worth just asking, like, hey, do you have a good reason for this? Like, what's going on? Give them a chance to explain themselves. If there is not a good reason, or there's no response, then that it's kind of like I think that's gone above and beyond to be generous and patient and forgiving. But if there's not, if for whatever reason a council member doesn't think the explanation is good enough, they're free to move forward with the referral to the compliance council, and they don't have to wait for that email either. But I plan to send an email to official telcoin.org emails, including all council members that are in that council, and just asking like what's going on. Can you help us understand?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just to jump in here as well, Jeremy, I know I brought it up initially as well, so I'm more than happy to do an email if needed, because I initially brought it up the last session, last council meeting. But also, correct me if I'm wrong, if a council member's NFT is revoked, the votes can still go ahead because it goes to the
Yes.
TAL, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's so there's the decision making costs. There's two different type of costs when you think about governance. There's the external cost, so the cost of the decision is going to impact adversely or positively, one of the constituents within the governance. And then the other costs are just the time, energy that it takes to make decisions. And so, yeah, this has been sort of designed so that the TAO can reduce those decision-making costs and ensure that the proposals go through if a council member fails to vote on a proposal. We just can't be held up by non-voters who neither abstain nor vote against things and just shirk that very critical duty because they are timely. And so the TAO will revoke that NFT. Any funds that it earns during that time period would go towards the TAO's budget and development and would vote immediately on the next proposal in line with the other members and where they stand on the proposal at the majority level. And I think in certain circumstances, for instance, if a proposal is made and the council member that does not vote is, for instance, a staker, and the TAO votes on behalf and has to substitute for that staker representative, then it's likely that the TAO would vote in the same way that the other staker did, so as to not present to any influence other than representing the interest of stakers. So, yeah, that's just a high level of the sort of operating procedure. And we just, before doing that, we need the compliance council to tell us it's okay via CCIP, which is two compliance councils members need to approve of it, 3-day proposal, and at least 3 of them need to vote. So yeah, that'll be the process.
Okay, and if the council members from the compliance council vote straight away, then that automatically goes through, so there wouldn't be any downtime, or is that incorrect?
That's incorrect. We would need to vote again, and we would immediately revoke the NFT, vote on their behalf, but we would have to run it back. It's just the cost of making it happen, and so that's why it's so critical that they do vote. And as Jake Cole said, it's not just the council they're holding up. It's there's standards that we have that the integrity of those standards, become jeopardized when folks don't follow the rules, and then we reciprocally don't enforce them.
Okay. So just to clarify with Grant there, would you like to do it, or shall I? Because I can send an email across to find out what is going on, or find reasonings. I'm more than happy to do that because I initially brought it up. But also, I just want to make sure that if someone is going to actually positively contribute to the whole platform, because the platform council is about shaping the entire platform and collaboratively. So I'm still of the mindset people need to put the work in.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing that. I think that you'd be a great candidate to carry that mission forward.
Okay,
You want
perfect.
to share whatever email you plan to write? I mean, it's informal, right? It's council member to council member. It's not
Yeah,
confined to council to them.
and
So
naturally,
if you
yeah,
want me,
naturally, I'll share it all beforehand, get everything just to make sure ticks all boxes, everything's proofread as well. But don't worry, it will all be covered beforehand.
Great. Yeah, the telcoin.org workspace is a great place to collaborate on that type of agenda.
But no, generally, I appreciate everyone's insight on that, and apologies for stirring up the drama from last council meeting. I just thought something had to be
I mean, I
mentioned.
got multiple emails and DMs about the lack of attendance and it being an issue, and that's why we have these meetings, right? Is so we can figure out, what is the intensity of people's preferences and on enforcing these rules. And to me, it's pretty darn clear they don't want council members that aren't showing up to these meetings, and we show up. I probably haven't missed one, I don't think. So it's basic stuff, but we can do it in a way that starts off, we're gonna have to enforce this policy. So
Parker got a little quiet there at the end, but we heard to enforce this policy, I think that you bring up a good point. That's what these meetings are for. We've seen plenty of input from the chat. We've had discourse at the council, so I think that we're good to move forward. And there goes Parker. Adam, thank you for bringing this up and for taking the lead on this. I think that I'd be happy to support you in doing that. I think that's a great call. So, y'all, we are at 90 minutes so far. I think that we are just about through on the agenda. I guess it's worth asking any last. Are there any other questions from the community? We've kind of been going a little long here, but I would love to answer any outstanding questions if they are out there.
Yeah, no, it's just more. Let's ensure that we get that NDA proposal all approved and signed. Hopefully sooner.
Absolutely, and we'll be looking. Keep your eyes out for Monday. Let's plan on doing that on Monday. I think so. I know that's a platform agenda item, but yeah, support you guys and help out any way I can. But yeah, I think Monday is plenty of time, and that gives us the chance to kind of rally the forces during the week. So let's plan on that. I see a little bit more typing in the chat, so we're gonna just kind of let that shake out. Thanks for everybody hanging on the call here. We need Telfam and Dubai. All right, so 4th through 14th in March, Telfam and Dubai. Reach out to Nick Blue Lights. It'll be a fun meetup. Okay, well, I think that's it for the agenda then. You all, we're looking at February 6th for our next global Platform Treasury Council meeting, followed by the 20th of February. So looking at 2 in February, again, February 6th. Thank you all for being here. And for those in the audience as well, really appreciate all of your support and participation. With that, I will sign off. See you guys.